The Macchi C.205 Veltro, also known as the MC-205, MC standing for the Macchi Custodi, was a Second World War era fighter designed and produced by the Italian aircraft manufacturer Aeronautica Macchi. Hello pilots and welcome to MotionRC.com. Today is the deep dive overview into the MC-205 Macchi. This is an extremely rarely modeled aircraft, so I'm excited to show this one to you today. Like I said, it's just something completely different and off the walls, and it actually flies really, really well. So let's start showing you around the aircraft a little bit, and as we go into details, I'll show you exactly what we used to actually get the aircraft put together. Starting up on the front of the aircraft, we are running our Admiral GP10 electric motor on the front of this aircraft. We also have a 13/8 electric Admiral wood prop on the front that pulls the aircraft around. Now, for customers that wish to, you could extend the length of this propeller to get a little more pull out of it. As it sets right now, this motor and prop combo only pulls around 28 amps whenever I was running it through my amp clamp. When I put the aircraft together, I put an 85 amp ESC. So if you're running this same setup and you want more speed and more pull, you could run a longer prop. As it is right now though, this is extremely efficient. You can actually fly this aircraft around 8 or 9 minutes with this current setup. Now, speaking of that power system, you've got to get your battery inside the aircraft. The top of the Macchi has a removable magnetic battery hatch with plenty of room to get an Admiral 5000 in there. That being said, there is a bar that comes installed across the front of the battery bay. I went on ahead and just went on and cut that out. It made it a lot easier to get that down inside and then the battery bay go around all the wires and everything if I cut that bar out. Now, for the servos on this aircraft, I'm using the Hi-Tech 645 MGs. They are linked right on the product page if you decide to get the same setup that I'm using. And then for my flaps, I just actually used some 9-gram free wing servos that I had laying on the shelf, but if you wanted to use the same ones on the flaps, you could. They're just a little overkill. Same servo went for the elevator and the rudder also, so really simple on that. As far as assembling all the control surfaces and things, you get all of the components you need in the box, from your hinges to your horns to your control rods. All that's gonna come in the box. You just gotta take a little bit of time to put all that into the aircraft. Assembly is really straightforward on the Macchi. Just set aside probably 3 or 4 evenings to actually put this aircraft together. It's not challenging at all, it just takes a little bit of time. Now, the kit is gonna come with fixed landing gear out of the box. If you choose to though, you can just grab the Nexa upgraded retract kit like I have here and install that into the aircraft. Now, something I chose to do a little bit differently on this one is I used the wire sprung gear. I just cut them off and filed a flat and then installed those into the actual retract units, and they worked really beautifully on this. I actually kind of like wire sprung gear. There's not a lot to go wrong. There's not a lot of pieces to unscrew and fall out, so I just reused the ones that came right in the kit. Same tires and everything, worked really well. Now, depending on how you build your flaps when you put the aircraft together, you're gonna either need 6 channels or 7. Now, in the case of mine, it came out to where my flaps, if they were wider together, went opposite directions. So I ran them in 2 channels and used 7 channels total to finish the aircraft. If you're careful when you put it together, you can make sure your horns work together on the flaps, so that can be rectified into 1 channel if you choose to do that. Another thing I really like on a lot of these Nexa aircraft now is the way they're attaching the canopy. You'll see on this one that the canopy is actually screwed on, so if you decided to go in and detail the cockpit even more than it comes out of the box, it's as simple as removing those screws around the outside of the canopy and you can pop it off. Same thing, if forever you need to get inside of it and clean something out, a bug gets in there, whatever, you can actually get into that cockpit to service it now. Now, another kind of cool feature on this aircraft is it actually has a split flap design, so you get that scale modeled interior section of the flaps now whenever they open. The flaps are pretty effective on this aircraft. It really do help slow it down on landings and takeoffs, of generating that extra lift. It's really a nice thing. Another really cool thing about the Macchi is the actual paint job on this aircraft. Now, I have to say, this is the first Italian aircraft I've ever had my hands on, and so the markings on it are extremely unique. And I'll say this color scheme looks absolutely striking in the air. The aircraft was very photogenic for us this time, and I really enjoyed doing the video content for this one because of how nice this aircraft looks in the sky and takes pictures of. So it was just a very special thing on that. The only real stickers you have to actually add to the aircraft are the Italian flags on the side of the aircraft and the numbers. And then on the tail, you get the 2 Italian flags, and then there's the Veltro that you can put back there also. Everything else on the aircraft is gonna pretty much come done for you though, from the panel lines to the rivets. There is staining around the aircraft to give it that detail that it's been weathered. Really cool finish to it. Now, as far as actually flying the Macchi, it is an extremely stable aircraft. Something you're going to notice is most of these Nexa aircraft, the wing has been changed just a little bit from scale to make them fly better. And it really shows. Most of the time I was flying this, I was flying in some crazy weather. And even without a gyro, these wood Nexa aircraft really handle extremely well. They're very, very forgiving on landing. They come in, they settle in. Even if you land with 0 throttle, they're gonna just kind of float in, and they'll glide a long way before they land too. You have to kind of plan for this. It's a heavier aircraft with a nice floaty wing, so when you come to land, you get her close to the ground, and you're gonna have to hold it off for a little bit while you bleed that airspeed, because if you try and force this on the ground, you're gonna do a bounce. It does like to land main first and just kind of roll out. Really, really nice flying airplane. Now, for the CG, the aircraft manual recommends 107 millimeters. To me, that seemed a little too far back from the leading edge. When I was flying it for my first flight, it was a little pitch sensitive. It's flyable there, but personally, flying without a gyro, I actually ended up moving mine up to about 90 millimeters. And that extra nose weight really helped the aircraft penetrate the wind, and it really didn't adversely affect it very much. These World War II aircraft don't mind being a little more nose heavy. It seems to make them a lot less pitch sensitive. I'll tell you, if you have that CG further back on this aircraft, make sure you're careful with your elevator rate. I did run 30% expo on this one with about a cut to 70%, but it's gonna be different depending on what horns you use and what servos you use. So I don't like to just give you an exact number like that of my radio call outs on these. It's gonna really vary everything you do on this aircraft depending on the electronics you actually end up using. I'll just tell you, like I said, don't get this aircraft super tail heavy because it will get it unflyable. So I'd err on that 90 millimeter side for your first flight. If it feels too nose heavy to you at that point, then move your CG back. It's as easy as moving the battery back and forth in the front of this aircraft. Well guys, I've really had a lot of fun doing the Macchi. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you've decided to get one, they are in stock at the time of this video coming out. I don't know how long they're gonna stay in stock though, because these wood aircraft normally sell really quickly. As always, pilots, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. And until the next video, I've been Wes here from Motion RC, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.